Hello Australia, welcome to a very big episode of The Couch 664. I hope everyone is healthy and doing well at home. Kids are coming off school and going on to school holidays. Take care, don't go out, stay home, stay safe, except for us having to work, of course, but we are safe in our studio. Big show today, Talking Green with Cara Walker. We welcome her back. She's going to be telling us how we can live with coronavirus with kids at home and how you can keep them busy as well. Cara Lee and Peter Katsimbarnis, they have a blended family. She's written a brand new parenting book. We're going to talk to her very soon. We're also talking to Paul Elwyn. We're not doing movies while the cinemas are closed, but we're going to be talking about the streaming devices and all the great things they've got for you to view. So we'll be talking with what's streaming. And later on, Demelza Leonard talks music, because there's always heaps of music news as well. We've got music acts when we talk about music. Izzy and Miles are coming in, and Mimi Dot performs for us as well. So a very big show. Episode 664 starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch. Oh, oh, oh.
Hello Australia, welcome to The Couch. For the next hour we're going to have a bit of fun. Have a break from coronavirus. I promise we're going to give you a bit of fun, a bit of information, and keep you busy for the next hour. Opening the show today are a brother and sister act, actually. They're called Izzy and Miles, and performing a Jonas Brothers song. It's called Sucker. Here they are, centre stage.
Together, yeah, better than birds of a feather, you and me. We change the weather, yeah, I'm feeling the heat in December when you're around me. I've been dancing on top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark and getting off. You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain. And baby, you know it's obvious, I'm a sucker for you. See the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Any road you take, you know that you'll find me. I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you. And you're making the typical me break my typical rules. It's true, I'm a sucker for you. Don't complicate it, yeah, 'cause I know you and you know everything about me. I don't remember, yeah, most of the nights I don't remember when you're around me. I've been dancing on top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark and getting off. You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain. And baby, you know it's obvious, I'm a sucker for you. You say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Any road you take, you know that you'll find me. I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you. And you're making the typical me break my typical rules. It's true, I'm a sucker for you. On top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark and getting off. You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain. And baby, you know it's obvious, I'm a sucker for you. You see the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Any road you take, I know that you'll find me. I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you. And you're making the typical me break my typical rules. It's true, I'm a sucker for you.
Well done. Sister and brother, Izzy and Miles, thank you very much, guys. And they'll be back later on, I think, in the third segment. Yeah, later on. Yep. Third segment, they've just confirmed, performing another fantastic song as well. So please stay with us. Big show coming up. Now, don't forget, we're talking parenting in the next segment with Carolee and Peter Katzenbarnes. Now, for those people who don't know, Peter Katzenbarnes is the state member for Hillary's. He's a politician in the Liberal Party. We're going to talk to him as well, maybe about what's happening with coronavirus as well. But first, Talking Green returns. Cara Walker, welcome back to the couch.
Hey Fred, you thought I ran away to the hills,
Well,
didn't
I
you?
was worried you were self-isolating for the last 12 months.
That's a really awkward thing. All of this coronavirus happened and I realised I lived like a quarantine prepper. I had no idea.
Because you don't live that close to the city anymore,
I do.
you?
I live in Nangara. I live on a tree farm.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So we have a property with orchards of trees,
How
with
wonderful.
food. There's pumpkins everywhere at the moment. We have 3 businesses that run from the property. My family live there and there's another family on the property
How
as well.
amazing is that? Maybe that's the new
beautiful.
way. Maybe it's another way
Well,
of
that's the
living.
thing. With all of that's happening,
Mm.
we're finding that we're really needing to talk to a lot of families in our lives at the moment because we've been homeschooling for a while now. We buy a lot of our stuff online. The reason we do that is because we want to buy bulk in organic.
Can you
And-
get it all in? Do they deliver to where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. It's only 10
I mean,
minutes.
Nangara's
It's actually,
not far.
it's closer than Joondalup. Everyone goes, ooh, where are you? But it's actually before Joondalup. It just feels like the sticks
Now,
because
picturing
there's
you
everything.
living in a house made of wood in a tree.
It is completely wood and I just don't wear pants. It's fantastic.
But that's nothing new for you, if I remember correctly.
It's not exactly. I'm just always out. We don't need to wear pants. We do our thing. My car's hardly ever used. I
Now,
love it. It's
tell
utopia.
people, because I'll tell you something about Cara. She's a very intelligent woman. She's done university, so she's not like someone that's just come
I just look
out
that way.
of a car and fallen onto the street. You're a smart woman, but you've chosen to live differently, haven't you?
Well, I guess it just always made sense to me, like to raise children, I wanted to raise them really well. So I saw my son was struggling in school, even though we sent him to Steiner. So I decided to put my career aside and homeschool him, and he's thriving. So
You've got
it really
two
works
boys
for him.
now, haven't you?
I do. My younger boy is 3, and he'll be coming up into that. And he's just wild. He's feral. He's on the farm, loving life. He's always on the tractors with the farmers, and his favourite thing is moving mulch. And
So I guess with coronavirus, you haven't really had to change your life
we
too
haven't
much.
changed much at all. I mean, we go out into the world and we're living normally. We go outside and we feel what I call, the crazy kind of creeping in, and we just come back to the farm and go, wow, we're really grateful for where we are. But what I think is relevant is
Yeah.
to try and express to people what they can do in their homes now,
Okay.
because it's unusual for people, families, to spend a lot of time together.
Isn't it amazing how many people probably come home from school or pick up their kids after work and so on and so on?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're forced to stay home more.
It is, yeah.
I mean,
it's
they can
strange.
still go out for the necessities, but they have
Yeah.
to stay home more than they used to.
Exactly,
they
and
can't
spend
cope.
more time together than they used to. I think that's the hardest thing. And I think people need to realise that at the moment you're not actually homeschooling, you're isolating schooling, which is completely
Correct.
different. When we homeschool, 3 days a week, we have groups of families come together. We're always out. We're at the park, we're at the beach, we're doing all kinds of things. And now we're limited. So we're all in the same boat
So
together.
what do you do at home?
The first thing I want to say to people is don't try and mimic what you're doing, what the school teachers do. If you're trying to fit in a 6-hour school day into your family life, you're going to drive each other
Yep.
crazy. The children are exhausted and they're feeling this energy at the moment. I think we need to let everyone sleep in, and I feel we need to give ourselves a few tasks in the day, but really 1 to 2 hours a day of education is enough. And beyond that, we need to let them find their own passions and their own flow. We really need to make sure that everyone has their own space and time. So one child may really love listening to music and dancing, where the other child really likes to read books. And if they're trying to do that, there's going to be fights.
And they're always learning
So-
as well, aren't they?
Exactly.
And I
Everything
agree
is
with what
learning
you're saying,
together.
'cause when you're in a class, you get that broken up during the day.
How many times do you all line up and then they all have to go get the hats, and then
Correct.
we're waiting for Jeremy to go to the toilet and
Morning
all this
tea,
stuff, and
lunch.
by the time that you actually cut that all down to actual learning, it is very, very small amount of time. So we've cut all of that out so the boys can actually do what they want to do.
Do you teach them all the subjects that they cover at
We
school?
do, but we do it in our own way. So I do send my son to a tutor for literacy. For maths, I do it with books. For science, we do beekeeping. We keep our own honey and our bees on the farm. The bees keep us, I say. We don't keep them. We do woodwork, so that's the maths. My son set up a business making his own kombucha. That's his maths as
Are you
well.
serious? But your
Yeah.
son is how old again?
7 years old.
7 years old. And this would be your influence, because you've always been a person that very businesslike,
Absolutely.
very smart when it comes to being productive and doing things differently.
I call it functional education. Everything has to be relevant. Like looking at books and learning maths doesn't make sense to me. I never received
Well,
that information.
How often when we were at school, and I'm assuming you went to a conventional school
I
like
did,
me,
very
we
standard
learnt all
school.
these things. And how many times did you used to say to the teacher or your parent, what am I learning this for?
Yeah.
When am I ever going to use
I know.
algebra?
And we, exactly, calculators now,
Yeah.
it's crazy. We just don't even need that information. But we do need to tick boxes. We have a moderator who comes and checks on us to make sure that our children are progressing in the
Yes.
homeschool community.
Wow.
You're not going to get that. The good thing is that all the schools are sending information home to parents to support them right now. But I think it's really important for families to really take time to use this time to chill out a little bit. Everything is chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you get outside time. So someone was just saying, how great is it we all have a backyard? Get your kids out in the sunshine, get them in the backyard, moving their bodies, get them doing sport with each other in the little confinement that they have.
Because I think that's the big thing. No one has said, the government has never said stop living.
No, exactly.
Stay safe,
Yeah,
but live.
exactly. And then, social distancing is one thing that should be physical, but not isolating. We, as a human race, need contact.
Correct.
So really check in
They've
on
learnt that
each
in the
other.
last couple of days, haven't they? They've all been
Absolutely.
talking differently because
Yeah.
they realised the mental health word came up.
Absolutely.
And people have got depression, people have got mental health. You can't just lock yourself away from
You
people.
can't. We need to talk, and we need to check in on our neighbours who are on their own. If there is an elderly person on the street who needs groceries, work out if you can get deliveries to them. We really need to work as a community now. So social distancing, stay safe, but work out how we can check on each other. Even if you've got single friends, this is a really hard time to be on your own. If they're on their own in an apartment, make sure someone's checking on them every few days because no one's touching each other.
Yep.
We always do need physical touch. We're used to that, but now
You need
it's
that
all
human
gone.
interaction,
Exactly.
don't you? And I also say to people with elderly parents, when you've got parents that I know I used to have them,
Yeah.
I could never be away from them. If my parents were still alive today,
Yeah.
I'd still want to have contact because
Absolutely.
not so much for me,
Yeah.
but more for them.
Yeah.
Parents they're already at that age isolated, and if you lock them off from any contact, just a phone call,
Exactly.
they
Check in.
they get very emotionally sad, depressed, and we're trying to protect them from
Exactly.
getting sick.
This is all about protecting
Exactly.
our elders. I agree. That's what we need to do.
So
with
your
checking
tips
in.
again when
So
schooling
with
kids at home?
homeschooling, I think just chill out a little bit. I think we need to do what we can for everyone, make sure everyone's following their passion in the homeschool variety. Make sure we get outside and get some sunshine. In that, boost your immune system, getting the really good foods, lots of berries, order your frozen berries, all types of fantastic colours in your diet. Not fake colours, real colours, Fred.
Look at me.
Put those cans of Coke away. Make sure that we are actually socialising. We can't be hugging our friends anymore, but we are still checking in with our neighbours, our elders, and people who particularly we know are living on their own. And more importantly, really stay away from the negativity. Stay informed, but switch off all that media that is making us feel really insane.
Fantastic, Cara. And can I, quick question, when your kids get to an older age, can
Yeah.
they go to like normal high schools?
Absolutely.
Or do you have to keep them at home?
We can transfer
make the
them.
choice
Yeah,
whenever
it's up to them. I'm
Hey.
being led by them at the moment, but we might come to side and come here.
A fantastic place.
Fantastic
What a
facility.
wonderful opportunity to be able to choose and make those
Exactly.
choices. And the kids love it.
They love it. They're thriving, absolutely thriving.
Cara, you've got a website if people want more information.
Absolutely. Head to ecofairies.com and you can find out more information there. We're currently setting up our fairy school for homeschool families. So, like
Fantastic.
everyone, we're all online. We're going to turn into that Wally movie.
And please do check out our website because there's lots of tips there and information about living differently and living better sometimes, I think.
I think so as well.
Well done. Thank you. Nice to see you back.
It's so good to be back, Fred. I'll
Let's
see
hope
you
it's
soon.
not the first in many times you isolate. Cara Walker, Fairy Cara Walker, thank you very much for all your tips and keep continued success with getting those kids educated at home.
Thank you, Fred.
We're going to take a break. We're talking more kids after the break. We're talking a new parenting book with Cara Lee and Peter Katzenbarnes. Stick around. You're watching The Couch only on Foxtel. See you then. Welcome back to The Couch. Nice to have you here on a Sunday night. We have got someone that I consider a new friend here at The Couch, but I've also worked with Cara Lee heaps of times on 6PR. And the man sitting next to her is her husband, believe it or not, Peter Katzenbarnes, the state member for Hillary's. Thank you for coming in as well.
You're welcome.
Cara Lee, the reason we brought you in is about this fantastic book. We do have a graphic on screen, so I won't hold it up too much. But tell me about Step Parenting with Purpose.
So this is a book that I wish that I'd had 15 years ago when I met Peter, and I wrote it really to help other people on the step parenting journey, people that might be on it already, people that are thinking about going on it, because the important thing is that there are some fundamental do's and don'ts which are so simple, but when you're in that situation, sometimes logic goes out the window.
So to break it down, because people say, we've got a lot of different families, and they
Yes.
sometimes refer to them as blended.
Yes.
They mix
step
it all up.
parenting, blended families.
So how many kids did you have and how many did Peter have?
So when I met Peter, his children were 11 and 12. boy and a girl. Lovely, I get on great with them.
Yep.
And then we have 3 children of our own.
So you got 5 kids
We've
all
got
up.
5 kids between us.
Amazing.
And the reason why I've waited 15 years to write the book is that I've always believed that if you've been in something for at least a decade, you can take emotion out of it, you're through the other side, and you can look back and actually provide some good advice for others. Whereas quite often if you're going through a situation, you're too emotionally wound up with whatever it might be. I also wrote the book because I found that when I first married Peter, a lot of my friends hadn't partnered or married somebody with kids. And at least 10 years later, people would ring me and say, Carolee, did this happen to you? And I would think, oh, yes, it did. What did you do? And I'm very clear in the book to say that I'm not a psychologist. Experts have their place, but so many times we have
You're
well-meaning
real.
experts.
You're a real parent.
I'm real. We have wonderful experts who have their place in society, but quite often they're just spouting forth
Do you know,
what they've read
I
in
have to
books
say
they
what
haven't
I-
experienced.
What I love
it.
about you is, 1, you are a real parent.
I am.
2, you're a very busy woman. You're out there doing a lot of work stuff. You support your husband supports you. Your husband's very busy in our looking after our state and our people. And if you can do this, it's fantastic for other parents out there, because, you know, coronavirus has just hit us the last few weeks. But parenting has been a hard thing for many people, especially blended families where you bring 2 families together. And having someone like you that's a pure example of real, it's easier to listen to. And I think it gives you a touch of credibility as well, don't you think?
Thank you. Well, that's very kind of you. I mean, I was asked to write a column for the West Australian just gone about the importance of communication for blended families. Quite often you've got people that have gone through a bitter split or they are going through one and there's no communication. And it was funny, quite a few friends said, well, hang on a second, we're self-isolating properly at our house, but in another 10 days, my stepkids are coming over, I've got young ones. How do I know that the same precautions that we're taking in our family, my husband's ex is doing the same?
Do you give advice that's based on your personal belief and your personal experience, or do you go and research, well, what should we do?
Everything in the book is true. It's
you go.
either happened to me or it's happened to others, and it's all
So
documented.
you're sharing real experiences.
It is, but one thing I want to make quite clear is it's not a cathartic experience. It's actually designed to get people to look at things in a very sensible way. And if I can provide a bit of a circuit breaker to a situation that they're currently going through and it works, fantastic. And if not, at least people will read about it and perhaps think of things from the other side. I mean, there are a lot of, well, just for example, there's a lot of ex-wives or ex-husbands whose exes have remarried. They might be very angry that perhaps they're still single or it hasn't worked. But ultimately, they need to think of their children and they need to realise that their ex is not their children's ex.
Correct.
It's still their children's mum
Mother.
or dad. And bad-mouthing and going through all those what I call 101
You see that a
things
lot,
that
don't
you
you?
shouldn't do. Everyone swears they don't do it, but they do. And you can't use the kids as emotional pawns. And you might have to bite your tongue for
I tend to
20
agree.
years, but you just have to bite your tongue.
And sometimes parents, I'll give you an example. In my family, my sister's broken with her husband. She's got 2 kids. She doesn't openly attack her husband, but any opportunity she gets, she uses it. And I'll say, let them make up their own choice. The kids are now 21 and 18. And I think at that age, kids can make up their own choices. But Peter, question for you. When you were looking for a new partner, so before this beautiful woman came your way, obviously you had 2 children. As a parent, what were you thinking about if you meet someone, they have to get on with my kids? What were the most important things for you as a single dad looking for someone new?
I'm not necessarily sure I was out there looking for a partner. Carolee came along rather than looking for a partner.
She came chasing you, did she?
But in that situation, it's a long time ago now, but in that situation, you have so many mixed emotions. And I got some really good advice from a close friend of mine. I'll dob him in. His name's Paul Robinson. He lives in Melbourne. He said to me, he'd been in a situation where he was a stepdad. And he said to me, look, what you've got to do now is you've got to make sure that you look through the lens of what's going to be good for your kids. Because there's lots of emotions going around. I don't know that I got everything right. I don't know I got that much right. But it was really about making sure that things worked for the kids at a delicate age too. And my only advice to people would be, look at what is right for the kids and trust your instinct on that as well. And try and keep the bitterness and the crazy emotions as limited as possible.
How long did it take you to write the book, Carolee?
You'll laugh at this. I actually...
Don't tell me 3 weeks.
No. It probably took about 4 or 5 months.
That's a long time.
It is. And I made it a mission to set aside time every day to write it. And I guess the world is full of people that say, I want to write a book, this and that. Naturally, you have to stick at it. And writer's block I didn't have. Naturally, it was refined down, and then when I worked with the publisher, and what happens with a book is it's often sent out to test readers. So in my case, it was sent out to somebody that never had children, somebody that was a step parent, and somebody that was going through. And it was quite interesting when all the draft manuscripts came back, all these 3 people from around Australia, very flatteringly, had identified exactly the same chapters where they loved it, or they wanted more of this, or they wanted less of something. And so then you take that away, you work on it, and you refine it again.
So how many times did you take it away, refine it, change things? Because you sound like a person that's willing to change, where you can see something better comes along.
Probably 3 times,
Yeah.
but the essential thing is, as I say, I say that it's 15 chapters that will hopefully revolutionise your life, but also reaffirm your role as a step parent.
So tell us, the chapters is 15. Give us some of
Yes.
the topics in those chapters.
Well, some of the topics are, that for a step parent, I think this was one of the biggest reasons why I wrote the book. A friend said to me, I wish my stepkids weren't coming over this weekend. And I
Really?
said to her, that's okay. I said, do you want to beat them up or put them in a cupboard and feed them bread and water for 48 hours? And she said, no. And I said, that's okay. And she planned a weekend with her husband, but of course the ex-wife had played, silly buggers and mucked up the custody, and so they had to have them. And she said, I feel like I'm second place. And I said to her, but it's okay sometimes to wish that your stepkids weren't coming around. I've got friends with kids that wish that they weren't around. And I said, that's okay. And she actually said, wow, I've been told that what I'm thinking is evil. And I said, it's not evil, it's common sense.
It's one of the biggest
We wish our
fears.
husbands weren't around half the time when they
isn't
drive
it
us
funny?
mad.
That would have to be one that I remember a lot.
Yeah.
Because everyone I've met that come from blended families, they fear the kids, the stepkids. And I think it's a lot. Is it a lot to do with because you didn't have a role in producing those kids,
Yep.
you feel you're going to be alienated?
And I guess one of the things that I've always been very firm, fair and respectful of my stepkids, I've always tried to treat them as 2 individual people. I know that there are some people that call their stepkids their own kids. I never have. And I say in the book...
So do you get called Mum or do they call you
They call me
Carolee?
KT because my
It's
original
lovely.
name was Tilvern,
Yep.
so they've always called me KT.
And still nice.
And it's taking pressure off whatever they might be.
And do they see you as a parent? Do they respect you as a parent?
I think looking back now, they respect
Peter?
that I think I've played an important role in their life, but I've never pushed it.
No.
I've always said that I'm someone that I hope that if they need a second opinion or a third opinion, because they've got their dad and they've got their mum, that they can come to me. But I think a lot of step parents try too hard in the beginning with their stepkids, which is natural, because you might be ready to go all guns blazing, but they may not be ready for you. And sometimes people get hurt by that, but you just have to be gentle.
Just in a couple of words, Peter, why do you think parents that are newly parents with stepkids, blended families, why should they get the book?
Well, I think it's important for everyone, whether you're the step parent or the actual parent on either side of the dispute, you want to make this work for the kids. And you shouldn't be doing it alone. There's a lot of questions. I've read through the book a couple of times, and there's really, really good advice. I wish I'd known about it. And from a parent's point of view, it's actually probably a really good idea to put yourself in the shoes of that step parent. Because often we think about ourselves, but we don't think about our partner.
Exactly.
And it's great advice for anyone, even grandparents of blended families. It helps you
learning.
get some tips to make things work a little bit better.
I guess you don't have to be a blended family either. It's sometimes if you're related, if I was related to you, and I think, oh, what are they doing? Why are they reading something like this?
Yeah.
It does actually tell you everything you wanted to know.
Also, an important point to make is that it's been described as a
Yep.
brave book.
Yep.
When I wrote the book, I actually thought, would I be happy for my stepchildren who are now in their late
read it.
20s to read it? And
Yep.
the answer is yes, because
Fantastic.
it is important, and I just want to make a difference to everybody on this journey. And I wrote the book because Toni Morrison used to say, and she's a Pulitzer Prize winner, used to say, if there's a book that hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it.
It is fantastic. Step Parenting with Purpose. Carolee Katsambanis is the author. Carolee, where can we get the book from? Because I
You can
believe
get
we've
the
got
book
details.
from my website, which is caroleekatsambanis.com, and it would be lovely if people would support, because during the coronavirus you can always get some extra information. As you say, families are going to be living on top of
Fantastic.
each other, tempers are going to fray, and this just might be the thing that
And
saves
there's
your
your
sanity.
website as well.
Thank you
so
very
people
much.
can buy the book. It's only $29.99 plus postage. I think I worked it out to be about $34. It is a fantastic read while you're spending more time at home.
Cheaper
parents.
than therapy as well.
I agree with you. And you can get a Uber Eats coffee and a cake, read the book, put the kids away on their games or reading books, whatever they want to do. And it's a wonderful guide to new parents of blended families or families of
And
people
Fred,
with
I want to say a
blended
very big
families.
thank you to you and the whole team at the Couch for
very
recognising the importance of this
Oh,
in
look,
our society and giving me the opportunity to come on.
And you know, we haven't touched on your background because you are a journalist, you're an author, you've got and the reason I didn't say anything about your past is because it shouldn't matter. You're a parent, and I want the real side of what's coming out of this book. You didn't write it as a journalist, you wrote it as a parent and someone that's actually affected by stepchildren and mixed marriages, which is wonderful as well. Peter, just a quick question. I know we're right out of time, but we can probably spend a couple of minutes. You being a state politician, how do you reckon we're going as a state, as individuals, coping with the coronavirus?
I think the vast majority of people in our state are doing the right thing. We're all in this together. We know what we need to do. We need to be keeping social distance. We need to be self-isolating when we need to. Importantly, now we're going to have from the start of the week, regional restrictions, so we don't travel
And
between
we did
the
see your little
regions.
map as well that you
Yes,
put
we
out.
did.
180,000
That's
people
had about
saw it.
180,000 people see that on Facebook.
Fantastic
Which goes
guide.
to show you that people are seeking information in this time. But there is that small percentage of people who aren't doing the right thing. And what I'd say to those people is, come on, we're all in this
Pull
together.
your head in.
Tuck your head in. Stop thinking the rules don't apply to you. Stop looking for excuses. Pay attention, because this important information could mean the difference between life or death for one of your loved ones. We've done well so far, Fred, I've got to admit.
We have done well.
But
And
we
give
want
credit.
that to continue. We want that curve to flatten and then drop,
Yep.
not continue to increase.
And can I just say too, Peter, from a West Australian and an Australian, can I congratulate the Liberal and Labor parties? I have never seen, I feel like they're both in government and they're working, yes, there's differences, but I think they're working incredibly together and in a bipartisan way to help every West Australian. And I see it from the top being the Prime Minister and our Premier, Labor Liberal, and from yourself being a Liberal Party working with a Labor Premier. Well done, congratulations. The public love it and we want to see more of it.
Yeah, well, look, it shouldn't matter right now.
No.
We're members of Parliament,
And
we're
that's what we're
representing the
seeing.
public, and what we want to do is put out clear and factual information so people know what they are required to do and what the restrictions are. And as I said, I just hope that small minority of people tuck their heads in and start working for our collective good
Common
for
goal.
all of us.
And
Yeah.
as they say, stay home if you don't have to go out. You know, make that sacrifice. We're a lot luckier. Look around the world, Italy, Spain, the United States. Look how hard they're doing it. Look how many the toll on their lives it's taken. We're very lucky in this state, but it can blow out if we just do stupid things. So listen to the politicians, listen to the Prime Minister, listen to your friends. Stay away from people if you don't need to. It's only temporary if we do it right, and we can get back to all having a great life. Carolee, last word about the book?
Just, I hope everyone will buy it and support it and really, really realise that you're not alone on the step parenting journey. It is difficult,
Yep.
but help is at hand, and I hope it just helps everyone.
And that's about it for the show today. No, thank you very much. Carolee and, of course, Peter Katsambanis, thank you for coming in.
Thanks,
The
Fred.
book
Thank
is
you,
called
Fred.
Step Parenting with Purpose. Everything you wanted to know, but were too afraid to ask. Well, we weren't afraid. We asked. We got the answers. You too can get this book. Please buy it online. You saw the website. $29.99. What a cheap book, and it's small. You can fit it into your bag. You can take it to work with you, read it in the tea room on your own, and all that type of thing. Thank you very much for coming in. Good luck with the book. I can't wait for your next one, and we'll see you on the other side of the break. More fun, more laughter, and more information right after this. Well done. Welcome back to the couch on Aurora Foxtel. Thanks for your company. Now, as you know, we don't have any movies to talk about. We can talk about movies. We have lots of movies that were supposed to come out, but there's no point teasing everybody saying this will come out, this won't come out. So what we've decided to do is go to the what's current. We've got Paul Elwyn back. Thanks, Paul, for coming in. And we're doing a new segment called What's Streaming.
What's streaming? Because essentially you can't, well, you shouldn't ever be able to, at the moment, be able to go out and watch movies in the cinema. So the whole thing is, as long as you have a PC or a Chromecast or an Apple TV or a smartphone, you can actually watch shows via streaming.
Now, people, just to tell people at home, streaming, you pay a small fee, up to about $10 or $12.
The cheapest way to do it is it's about $10 or a little bit less than $10 per month.
And you get to choose a lot of movies.
And then you can sign up to any of these or any number of these, and they'll have a huge library that you can go through on your phone or on your PC or on your device. And essentially, the only one I know of is like Amazon Prime Video. If you do sign up, they will go, oh, guess what? You're going to get the whole year's worth. So just be careful when you do that. But everyone else is easy. Like you just sign up per month. And then if you want to, you can switch or between. And the good one is, for example, Stan's one of the better ones where you have a 30-day trial as well, whereas the rest do normally like 7 days. So you can try them out, and if you're happy with their library.
And if you like 6PR and Channel 9, Stan's the way to go because we own them. And they're a very good service. I must admit, they've been around a long, long time.
Stan's been great. Like it has like a really good library, and that's actually growing. But the thing is, it's not just new stuff, but it's also like a lot of your old favourites, especially like for me, like you go, oh man, do you remember like Seinfeld, X-Files, that sort of thing? You go, oh, actually, I can check out all of that. And I think
also times like this with the, coronavirus, people thinking about Australia, Stan is very Australian, Netflix is very American, but we've got Netflix and Stan at home.
We've got them all covered. Which is
so we're going to talk about, we're looking at 4 of the different streaming companies.
Yeah, the major ones or the ones that everyone sort of popular, know about.
So we're going to start with Amazon Prime
We've got Amazon Prime Video. That one's cheap as well. It's like about $10 a month. And they've got their own original shows as well. So there's a couple shows that I personally like a fair bit. The first one is Hunters. That one is, it's interesting. Basically, just imagine like back in the 70s, all of a sudden, Nazis, bad guys, they're starting to become more prominent in some way or infiltrating the government. And essentially these guys are Nazi hunters. And what would these guys do? And a really cool thing about this is actually Al Pacino's first TV acting role.
Wow.
And it's kind of cool because like he does the Al Pacino thing. Like he's a tough guy, but he's not like, a total tough guy. He needs help, like everyone's here. So it's a whole team of guys here, and it always raises a whole lot of moral issues. Are these guys really doing the right thing? Are Nazis always, totally the bad guys in this? And you're just trying to work it out. And it's also executive produced by Jordan Peele, who did the awesome Get Out movie and Us. So it's got some really good sort of backing behind it.
Now, is this a movie or a series?
This is a TV series. So this is Al Pacino's first TV series that he's doing. You can crunch it. It's a bit full on for some adults, like the violence and the situations in it, but like it is kind of an intriguing story as well.
And for those people who have never experienced streaming, they give you usually the whole lot there. I remember watching Lost in Space, the new one, and I ended up watching one episode just to see what it was like. And I was in Bali. I watched the whole 13 because you can't put it down. So, but it's great for those people who are at home with the kids.
After a couple of hours, it does warn you and go like tell you might want to take a break.
You need to call Uber Eats very quickly, get a pizza in or something.
Yeah, it's handy because there's only so many episodes of Full House I can handle that my kids watch on Netflix as well. The other series is kind of similar, but essentially for all of you kind of superhero fans, this one's called The Boys. And the whole thing is, what if there are superheroes in our world, but also the superheroes are actually kind of a bunch of, a-holes. They're actually like, they kind of sort of have this front where they're kind of, oh, we're great for the country and everything. But behind the scenes, the superheroes are actually doing bad things. And these guys have exposed that there's a young guy who loses his girlfriend because of a superhero's actions. And essentially he's going down this whole rabbit hole of, well, okay, I want to really take revenge on these guys. And you're going, wait a sec, but aren't they meant to be helping? Or what's going on. It is based on a comic book, and it's really interesting. Carl Urban's in it, and he's amazing in this one. He plays this sort of really kind of like full-on type of character.
Is he an idiot?
Yeah,
well,
they're all
good.
goofballs because they're all like, how do you knock off a superhero or take him down a peg? What do you do? Like,
Sort of like reverse psychology, isn't it?
yeah, it's kind of crazy because then it's seeing like how these young guys, they're going, are they in over their heads or are they actually, do they have any idea what they're doing? So it's called The
Fantastic.
Boys.
And that's a series as well. Let's move
Yes.
straight on to our favourite, Stan.
Yeah, Stan.
Bloom.
They've got original stuff, which is great. So, for example, this one's an Aussie production. My wife loves this one because, like, it's, she doesn't normally watch sci-fi, but technically this is sci-fi. This is Bloom. A year after a town is flooded, all of a sudden, people are finding these strange plants. So what do you do when you find a strange plant and, okay, fine, someone eats it.
These
all
days,
of a
yeah,
sudden,
yeah.
these plants will actually regenerate you and make you youthful. So this is the moral decision, like, keep
Really?
it to yourself. Will you help your loved ones? Will you just, like, grab as many of these plants and leave town? You found the secret to, like, having a long life. What are you going to do? What if other people find it? Like, would you, if someone finds it in the forest, like, would you murder them and then keep it to yourself? That
This
sort of
isn't
thing.
sponsored by the Vegan Society, is it?
No, and we've got Brian Brown in this. Oh my God, he's so
wow,
good in
legend.
this. And another one, a young actress, Phoebe Tonkin, Australian actress. She was in the Vampire series, The Originals.
Yep.
And great performances from everybody in this
Bloom,
one.
and this is a series as well.
This is a TV series, and the second season
Yep.
is coming up soon as well. So you can actually catch up on this, and then the second series will be out in the next couple of weeks.
If you don't like that one, I best Better Call Saul.
Now, Better Call Saul. If you can, if you're a fan of Breaking Bad or you've seen quite a bit of Breaking Bad, this one's interesting because essentially before he was known as the criminal lawyer Saul Goodman, he was actually Jimmy McGill. And you're going, okay, how did he make this transition from a small-time criminal lawyer to get into, and essentially he's trying to get his feet, set up and work out what the heck he's trying to do, but he's in like a lot of crazy situations. But if you are familiar with Breaking Bad, which is the massive series that's available to watch as well, this is great because you're actually watching Bob Odenkirk play Jimmy McGill, and how does he become Saul Goodman, this from small time to slightly bigger time criminal lawyer. And a lot of drama, but a lot of the characters you're familiar with from Breaking Bad, you actually find out how they come up in this.
Sounds like a
as
good
well.
watch.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting.
And that's a series as well, so
yeah,
those people
TV
need.
series as well.
You got to watch
Better
the-
Call Saul.
And the thing is, some people don't like watching one after another. Look, I prefer a movie, but I will say if I'm stuck at home, you watch a couple a day or something. It sort of gets
A
you
lot
through.
of the way these are is just imagine like a really great like movie or it's kind of Lord of the Rings but in a fun way, like.
No worries. Let's have a look
thing,
at
yeah.
Netflix Afterlife.
Yes, Netflix Afterlife. Ricky Gervais, comedian, kind of divisive, but essentially this one's interesting because like season 2 is coming out soon as well. Essentially, he loses his wife and like how he's dealing with life around all of this and like his thoughts on death as well. And it's actually kind of a personal project of his as well because you can actually see that Ricky is an atheist himself and how he practices, but like it's a reflection on like him asking questions as well.
Yep.
You start off thinking, oh, like he's a bit of a horrible person, but then you actually find out as each episode carries on, the walls start coming down, and you go, okay, he is a vulnerable person and he is asking questions, but it's just how he does it.
Ricky Gervais, eh?
Great
Fantastic
sense of
show.
humour in it too, yeah.
Afterlife. Let's move straight on to the next one. The Letter for the
So
King.
we're starting to get more into the kids section now, which is a lot of fun. Letter for the King. This was kind of an interesting one. A workmate just mentioned it to me. I said, "Oh, what is it like Game of Thrones or whatever?" And he goes, "No, it's actually like essentially it's a kids series in a sort of medieval fantasy type situation. All of these young pages, they're all trying to learn how to become knights, and all of a sudden it gets thrust upon him a quest." To take a message to a king, but then you're going, well, what's the intentions of all of this and how's he going to get through this? And these are kids, but essentially they're teenagers and they can handle themselves in a fight, that sort of thing. It's rated PG, so you can watch this with your kid. The violence isn't like bad or anything. And the situations aren't too adult in nature, but it is interesting because like you're going like, what is it like for like younger people in these sort of medieval fantasy situations?
Let's move straight on to Disney Plus because I know we're running out of time. Gordon Ramsay's got something new called Uncharted.
Uncharted. If you want to see Gordon Ramsay not swear and actually find out more about food
You're not
around the
gonna see
world,
that.
this one you can watch with your kid. He had a TV series with his daughter Matilda as well. That's on ABC. But this one, he's actually traveling around the world and finding out like exotic, interesting ingredients, but also the people behind them and their
Oh,
situations
wow. It's
in
sort of
life.
like Jamie Oliver's Italy.
It's really cool, but yeah, it's in
Yeah,
like
it's
very
nice.
interesting places as well.
It's nice seeing him in a different role.
Yeah,
So
he
that's
doesn't
Jamie
swear. He's very
Oliver.
polite in this one.
That's obviously not Jamie Oliver. Gordon
Ramsay, yeah.
As you would see him in the Hell Kitchen and all that. But
He's actually really modest and polite in this one, so
nice
it's a good
person.
break for everybody. But
He's,
no, it's enjoyable. Like, yeah,
all right,
watching
let's
him
have a
do
look
that.
at Sky High. Now, Sky High is a movie that's out
Sky
at the
High.
moment.
It's one of my favourite movies currently on Disney Plus. It's a great one. It's from quite a few years ago, but good if you want to get your kids into superheroes, that sort of thing. High school for superheroes, and it's located up in the clouds. And how do kids cope with their sort of situation of growing up, and if they're superheroes as well, and how do they handle things? I think it's rated PG, but yeah, it's really good for kids and adults alike. There is a bit of adult humour in there as well, that sort
Great
of thing.
bus.
Yeah, and we've got Kurt Russell in it as well.
Got some well-known actors.
yeah,
So
it's
this
a lot of
one's out
fun.
at the moment, Sky High
Sky
on
High on
Disney Plus.
yeah.
And let's look at the
movie.
last one.
Last
I
one's
know
Shop
we're right
Class.
out of time.
Yeah,
Shop
where
Class.
kids are actually doing essentially like Imagineering, putting stuff together through Disney, and they're just saying like, here's some projects, check this out. And the kids are taking on all of these and how they sort of, through craft and skill, come up to the conclusion of these projects. It's quite good. Like, you watch it with your kids, and then all of a sudden they're going to go off and do their own thing and play with crafts and put things together.
Fantastic, and that's out on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, that's
Paul,
Shop Class TV
thank you
series.
very much. You did that very well. So
Thanks.
it gives us something to look at when you're at home, and then maybe if we're spending more time at home, school holidays as well.
Yeah, definitely, because there's the good thing, there's educational stuff, but stuff for everybody.
Fantastic, Paul. Thanks very much. Don't get too caught up with the movies over the next couple of weeks.
No way.
But I look forward to having Paul back in a couple of weeks telling us what's streaming on all the streaming devices. Now, music-wise, remember I said Izzy and Miles? They're coming back. They are back. They're over there saying, hurry up, Fred. They have got an amazing song by Megan Trainor. Is that how you pronounce her name? Yes, I think it is. Hey, future husband. Do-do-do. All right, I won't sing. Here they are, Izzy and Miles.
Dear future husband, here's a few things you'll need to know if you wanna be my one and only. Oh, my life. Take me on a date, I deserve a break. And don't forget the flowers every anniversary. Cause if you treat me right, I'll be the perfect wife. Buying groceries, buying what you need. You got that 9 to 5, but baby, so do I. So don't be thinking I'll be home and baking apple pies. I never learned to cook, but I can write a hook. Sing along with me, sing along with me. Hey, you gotta know how to treat me like a lady, even when I'm acting crazy. Tell me everything's alright. Dear future husband, here's a few things you'll need to know if you wanna be my one and only all my life. Dear future husband, make time for me, don't leave me lonely. Yeah, no, I'll never see your family more than mine. After every fight, I just apologize, and maybe then I'll let you try and rock my body right. Even if I was wrong, you know I'm never wrong. Why disagree? Why disagree? You gotta know how to treat me like a lady, even when I'm acting crazy. Tell me everything's alright. Dear future husband, here's a few things you'll need to know if you wanna be my one and only all my life. Dear future husband, make time for me, don't leave me lonely. Yeah, no, we'll never see your family more than mine. I'll be sleeping on the left side of the bed. Open doors for me and you might get some kisses. Don't have a dirty mind, just be a classy guy and buy me a ring. Buy me a ring, babe. You gotta know how to treat me like a lady, even when I'm acting crazy. Tell me everything's alright. Dear future husband, here's a few things you'll need to know if you before each and every night. Oh, future husband, better love me right.
Izzy and Miles, thank you very much, guys. You can go home now and isolate. We need to take a break on the couch. Coming up after the break, we talk music with Demelza. She's back from a week off, and we'll talk to her next. We'll see you after the break.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the Home Straight on the couch. We've got her back. She wasn't here last week, but she's here today. Demelza Leonard, welcome back.
Hi.
Talking music, of course.
Yes.
Not a lot happening in music, but still some things are happening.
Yeah, there's obviously everything's been cancelled, which is great because it's good for health and social distancing and making sure that everyone's looking out for each other. So there's been a lot of cancellations when it comes to music. Eurovision for the first time in 64 years has been cancelled. So
Julia Zemira would hate that.
well, I think a lot of people will be hating that come May. I mean,
It's a
think
very
of all the
popular
Eurovision
thing.
parties, and Australia was competing again, and you know, even the artists that were taking place in there.
So many people in the music industry are going to be out of work. Now, I'm assuming a lot of the big stars are all still recording their songs and probably still
If
releasing.
they can get into a studio, especially the ones who have studios in their house
Yeah.
that's been built in, but when you see some of the lesser ones who have hired studios regularly to record their music, that's where it's going to be
That's
a
your
little
problem.
bit difficult because you're not going to be able to get the mastering that you normally get if you're just recording on your little home studio at home.
Very, very true.
Having said that, though, you never know. We might see a brand new genre in terms of recordings coming
So
up.
we've seen a lot of gigs closed down, haven't we? A lot of people out of work.
Grooving the Moo has cancelled for Australia, and they have said they're not coming back till next year. So it's not being postponed till later in the year. It is a blanket cancel for 2020. Glastonbury Festival in London has also said next year, so again not coming back. Coachella did say later in the year, but it's going to come down to what happens, what's happening with this virus, when everything goes back to as close to normal as possible. For the Littlies, the Wiggles and Paw Patrol have been postponed, so they have said keep on to your tickets and
Yep.
you'll know more when
Yeah, I think
more
most
information
companies
comes
are good
available.
like that. Everything's deferred, not cancelled.
Yeah,
forever.
and the ones that have postponed are Violent Femmes have turned around and said November 2020 if all goes well. Harry Styles has cancelled the first part of his world tour. No word on the Australian part of that tour, which was due to take part later in the year. And then also Tame Impala, who have postponed till December at this stage as well.
Hopefully, there's good news around the corner and this coronavirus will be under control. Hopefully, in the next 5 months or less, if we
Fingers
can.
crossed, fingers
What can we
crossed.
do to help musicians during this
Yeah,
time?
so sadly, $200 million has now been lost because of the music industry.
Wow.
Having to postpone, cancel gigs. A lot of artists have lost work. Now, there's a few things. There's a bit of a list here of what you can do to support those local artists.
Okay.
You can stream or purchase their music from iTunes, stream it on Spotify. They get royalties from it.
Yep.
So that means they still will be receiving
So
some
buy
sort
the
of
music
income.
online.
Exactly.
It goes to the artist. Yep.
Exactly. You can buy their merchandise. A lot of them have T-shirts and things that you can,
T-shirts,
DVDs,
caps.
that
Yep.
type of thing. Hold on to your ticket rather than
Don't ask for a
cancelling.
refund.
Exactly. It'll help them with the money that goes. There's also a couple of websites. One is called Support Act, which is you can donate to a COVID-19
Yep, there it is,
appeal. And another one that's popped up over the last week or so is called I Lost My Gig. Now, this has been established by the Australian Festival Association and the Australian Music Industry Network. And it's not only a great hub for resources, what to do, where you can find support, but what it's doing is collating the amount of money that has been lost from the industry so that they can have a very accurate reporting in terms of who has lost jobs, how have they lost it, how has this impacted the community, and that's ilostmygig.com.au.
All right. Artists turn live streaming they turn to live streaming.
Well,
we're talking about movies and series. I was just wondering whether this would happen where instead of doing a concert on a stage, they might do it on a TV studio where they're on their own with a crew and people will pay to watch that.
Well, they're actually doing it at home. So it's part of a series called the Together at Home series. Now, this has been put together in conjunction with WHO, so the World Health Organization, and an organization called Global Citizen. And it's a whole heap of artists have come together, including Aussie artists like Guy Sebastian, and they're performing in their lounge rooms and their homes. There's also Twitch. So the social media platform Twitch has come together for Stream Age 2020. And again, you're going to see performances live streamed through their platform, but also gaming. They've teamed up with celebrities to game as well.
So you've got John Legend, Chris Martin and of Coldplay, Keith Urban, Pink and others are making the most of the situation, and they've got no choice. And also DJs. So we've seen Questlove of The Roots. The Roots are obviously the band who perform with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show. Spinderella, Salt and Pepper. Yesterday I was actually watching her and she was playing some vinyl records and was spinning from that. Diplo is another DJ as well. So you're actually finding a lot of DJs are hopping online now and actually doing live sets on their Saturday nights. What's Triple J up to? Triple J is actually very interesting. They've got Triple J covered and they're requesting unearthed bands, so bands who normally submit their original releases, to cover their favourite songs, similar to their Like a Version segment. So a song that you like, your own version of it, and upload that on Wonderful
Unearthed.
idea.
So lots of things that can help musicians at this time and keep themselves performing as well.
So we'll try and keep people up to date with music as well. We might even go, if we're still around, if we haven't closed down for a while, we might even look at artists and talk about them and talk about a bit of their history.
Definitely.
Favourite artists.
Yeah.
ABBA are obviously deferring their videos for another 10 years. Let's have a look at the top three artists for this week. Top three Arian. Number 3?
At number 3, it's Dua Lipa with Don't Start Now.
Yep. At number 2?
At number 2 is Justin Bieber featuring Quavo with Intentions. I like this track. It's nice and boppy. And still
Very
at number 1, The Weeknd with Blinding Lights.
There you go. So repeating that news, ABBA lovers, don't hold your breath. 2027, I reckon.
Didn't we say a couple of weeks ago it'll come down to technical difficulties?
I reckon we've got more chance of them getting the coronavirus than releasing these CDs. But thank you very much. Very talking about the coronavirus, can we just say we hope everyone gets better. We hope, keep your personality, keep your sense of humour, nothing wrong with that. Just keep safe. Those people that have been stupid and been going out there and heading out to cafes, restaurants and beaches, please stop it. Enough's enough. You've been stupid for long enough. We all have to suffer because of your stupidity, so stop doing it. Stay home when you don't have to work. If you have to work, go to work, but you don't have to socialise. We can give that up for a while. Unless people live in your house, leave it out. All right, thank you very much to Demelza.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the program. We've got another big show next week. Thanks to all our wonderful crew. I would say hello personally, but they're all distancing too far from me, which we do because we have to do it. And you do it as well at home. Clean your hands. Do all the things that you have to do. If you want more information, go to the health.gov.au website or please go to healthdirect.gov.au as well. Lots of information. We're going to leave you today with Mimi Dodd lighting up the place as we go out. Thank you very much. Her song is called Lambada, so we'll dance our way out of the couch. We'll see you next week, Australia. Bye.
with the sun and the sea. Only love my sweat feels so sublime. Do it unto me, to a love fantasy. That's for one precious moment was mine. Gone away, only man who's ever make me cry. Not so far away, far enough to make me wanna die. Do it unto me, to a love fantasy. That's for one precious moment was mine. Do it unto me, to a love fantasy. Just for one day of total surrender.